Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwan, and today we're going to be talking about the Xenos species known as the Megarachnids. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day. If you have any suggestions about any other topic of Warhammer 40K, please comment down below. And if you enjoy our content, thank our patrons on Patreon. It is because of them that we can do this. Link in the description if you guys want to support us. But with that said, let's get into 40 facts on the Megarachnids. Early in the 31st millennium, the Imperium of Man encountered the death world of Urasarok. It was the 20th world encountered by the 140th Expeditionary Fleet, a contingent of the Blood Angels Legion. It was commanded by Captain Kittis Frome. Unable to translate the warnings from the orbiting satellite beacons placed in orbit of the world by the advanced human civilization known as the Interax, that warned approaching starships to stay away from the planet as a dangerous Xenos species had been quarantined there, Captain Frome ordered his fleet's entire contingent of 3 companies of Space Marines to begin landing operations to investigate and bring the planet into Imperial compliance. Due to the extreme atmospheric turbulence present on the world, all of the Blood Angels' assault craft attempting to land on the planet became scattered and were thrown off course, leaving the Imperial landing parties isolated from one another. The turbulent atmosphere also affected Vox communications and made it difficult for Imperial forces to coordinate their movements. Ground teams soon started sending garbled transmissions to the fleet's vessel in orbit, reporting that the planet was inhabited by an extremely hostile intelligent arachnoid species, later dubbed Megarachnids. The Megarachnids were an old enemy of the Interax civilization. The Interax was an ancient human civilization that merged with robots. To learn more about the Interax, click on the link up at the top of this video. They had exiled the surviving members of the Megarachnids to the world they called Urasarok as an act of mercy rather than committing xenocide, as was standard policy for the Imperium. The Interax stripped the Megarachnids of their interstellar travel capabilities, and to keep the aliens isolated on their new homeworld, the Interax constructed weather control devices that created powerful atmospheric disturbances and interfered with radio communications in the shape of large trees across the planet in order to deter vessels from landing on the Death World. As reports of horrific combat from the surface continued, the Xenos were described as too numerous and formidable to defeat without reinforcements. These creatures had 8 legs, with 4 legs used for locomotion and the other 4 ending in sword-like claws. Their entire bodies were covered in an organically produced metallic substance that made their claws so hard that they were able to easily cut through ceramite of a Space Marine's armor. Their hides proved so resistant even to bolter rounds. When this metal exoskeleton was breached, the Megarachnids bled gray blood and had pink flesh contained within their armored hides. The creatures had no visible eyes, but were somehow able to find prey and organisms they attacked. All communication was done through clicks made from their mouths, which was described as razor-sharp metallic pincers able to tear through ceramite just as easily as their blade-tipped claws. Despite these commonalities, the Megarachnids came in a variety of sizes and shapes. The Blood Angels encountered some that had wings, the ability to spin silk and spit cement, and enormous Megarachnids, also the size of Titans, who likely played the same role in their forces. It also appeared that the race followed those Megarachnids that were larger in size. The larger the Megarachnid, the more control he had. Not long afterwards, the Blood Angels made urgent distress calls requesting immediate reinforcement and extraction. The last transmissions received by the fleet of the 140th Expedition came from Captain Kittis Frome himself. He noted through clenched teeth, "This world is murder." This name stuck, becoming the Imperium's informal appellation for Urasarok. A company of Astartes from the 3rd Legion, the Emperor's Children, arrived in response to the Blood Angels' distress call. They made the same mistake during the initial assault as the Blood Angels, as their landing parties were scattered by the planet's powerful atmospheric disturbances. The company took heavy casualties, but just as the Emperor's Children were about to be overwhelmed, a relief force of newly arrived Lunawolf Astartes from War Master Horus's own 63rd Expeditionary Fleet began to land through the breach in the atmosphere. The Megarachnids assaulting the Emperor's Children were scattered, and a full-scale Space Marine assault on the hostile Xenos of murder began quickly. 10 companies of Lunawars, the remnants of the Emperor's Children's Company, tens of thousands of Imperial soldiers drawn from the Imperial armies, Byzantine Janissaries, and several Legal Mortis Titans proceeded to level entire swaths of the grass-stalked forest and destroy every one of the atmospheric-altering trees they encountered, which steadily eroded Murder's atmospheric barrier. The War Master Horus, who commanded the Imperial assault from his flagship, Vengeful Spirit, was very pleased with the progress that was being made. Some consideration had been paid to initiating a withdrawal from Murder, now that the proper landing zone was available to allow an easy extraction of the troops, when an unexpected visitor suddenly arrived. The Primarch Sanguinius had come to Murder to inspect the dead of his original Blood Angels landing forces that had been wiped out early in the campaign. With tears in his eyes, Sanguinius asked his brother Horus if he would join him in a campaign of vengeance against this foul Xenos. The War Master replied, "Yes, let us murder. Adding 5 companies of Blood Angels to the Imperial invasion force, Sanguinius fought alongside Horus against these aliens. Thousands of Megarachnids poured out of the forest and canyons of Murder in an endless wave. Despite never retreating from Imperial assault, the Megarachnids only continued to lose ground. By the 6th month of the campaign, it seemed that the Megarachnids would soon face extinction, when a fleet deployed by the Interax arrived in system to determine who had assaulted the Megarachnids' reservation world. Finding contact with the highly advanced humans of the Interax to be a more pressing issue that needed to be dealt with, Horus ended the campaign against the Xenos of Murder, and thus the Megarachnids had been saved from extinction for a second time by their old enemy. Imperial records don't indicate the final fate of the savage species, as the Horus Heresy quickly began. And those were 40 facts on the Megarachnids. Now, before you click out, I wanted to give you guys a little bit more information if you're curious as to what happened to the Megarachnids. Now, this is my theory, my hypothesis. In the series of the Beast Arises, within the first book, the Imperial Fist are said to be fighting a species of Xenos known as the Crones. They are described very similar to the actual Megarachnids. They're giant beetle-like creatures. The difference between the Megarachnids and the Crones is that the Crones are described not so much as intelligent in the way that a human would be considered intelligent. They are kind of more animalistic, and the way they travel from planet to planet isn't actual like warp capabilities. They don't just have ships. What they do have, or what they do is kind of like rats, jumping onto a ship and traveling from continent to continent. The Crones would just latch on to different warp travel capable Xeno species and then just travel that way. So for instance, the Eldar have the webway. They would somehow get into the webway and then travel that way, and that's how they colonize the entire galaxy. These are the Crones. So my hypothesis is that either a bioform, and I don't even want to say bioform because then that connects them to the Tyranids, but some type of Megarachnid broke off and continued its existence within the galaxy, and it became the Crones, which is what you see in the Beast Arises series, well, in the very beginning anyways. And obviously it fits within the timeline because the Horus Heresy was at the end, and then now we're in the 42nd millennium. The Beast Arises happened sometime in the middle, so it gives them enough time to kind of evolve, or at least separate themselves from the major Megarachnids, which are more like spider-like, kind of like praying mantises, and then the Crones are described as more like beetles and stuff like that. But that's my hypothesis. What do you guys think? I would really love to see, I've talked about this before, but I would really love to see some type of mercenary faction within 40K, where you could use all the units from like Blackstone Fortress and all of these minor Xeno races within one 40K faction that has like synergy and all that kind of cool stuff. But we'll see what happens in 9th edition. We're probably just going to get more Primaris stuff. But it would be cool to get some cool Xeno faction that is a mercenary faction or something like that. Maybe even connected to the Tau, since the Tau already kind of do that. But yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will talk to you tomorrow. Oh, if you have any questions, obviously, comment down below. If you have any suggestions, comment down below. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. This was Gershwan with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.
situation.